Hey all you Dexter Morgans and Jim Lindsays, my name is Dale Robin Jr., the third, and this is the 30th episode of Slow to Pro, a YouTube series where I make all the mistakes so you don't have to, like using the wrong brake pads. I will explain and demonstrate later. Today we are in the new BMW M4 GT3 with a mouthful. Still preparing for the Respect the Spec series being put on by Zealous Racing League. This is a public lobby that I jumped into just to get some practice. When I joined the lobby, it happened to be right at the race start, so we got to start at the back of the grid without having to work for it. As we race toward turn 1, I'm a little more cautious than I usually am because I didn't do any sort of warming up or practice laps of any kind before this. I thought I was joining at the end of the last race. Then I popped into the back of the grid at the start of a race and they're going 85 wide into turn 1, but somehow nobody wrecks, and I immediately think I've stumbled into an alien lobby of some kind. But that doesn't last long as a Ferrari goes off onto the right through turn 2, and then as we come down to turn 3, it looks like half the grid tried to put the sauce down too early or got hit, one of the two. I'm not a race forensicist, but we just try to stay extra patient and hope nobody rear ends us as we navigate these choppy waters, and we make it through. If you've noticed a reduction in quality, that's because I had to turn off the anti-aliasing completely in order to be able to record in VR. Let me know if you'd rather just see higher quality footage that isn't VR. I'm still going to play in VR, but I could also try to do something like this, where I record the helmet cam from the replay after the race is done. For now, I'm just going to stick to the VR footage because I like it more, but if you guys like the helmet cam footage more, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to change that going forward. It's no big deal. And coming up here, we're headed into an incident. It looks like the BMW maybe turns into the Ferrari, and then I slam into a different Ferrari because I was too dumb to see this happening while it was happening. Luckily, everybody else avoids me. And here's patience. I saw someone else was coming, check the track map, make sure the track is clear, and now it's time to go. That's called etiquette. You're going to see that not everybody in this lobby shares that same etiquette. But hey, since I crashed, if you wouldn't mind subscribing if you haven't already, I'd appreciate it. We just hit the 40 mark and we're growing slowly but surely into an army of slow boys. If you'd like to help accelerate the growth of the slow boy army, click the like button. Thanks, and sorry for wasting your time with that, but if you did it, I'm not sorry. Thank you. Next bit of action. One lap later, almost exactly, and we've got a lot of speed on this Ferrari. Enough to get side by side for the braking zone, but I backed off and decided against going side by side through the second part. Lucky I did, because one of us would have definitely wrecked if we were side by side here, as those two knuckleheads have decided to take up almost the entirety of the track. And the Ferrari in front of us is able to maintain this gap until the next lap, so let's jump to that into the final turn. So I saw that he ran a little wide here and knew I'd have more exit speed, and decided that I was going to make a move into turn 1 and I was going to try to hug the right side going into turn 2 so he wouldn't be able to get any exit speed out of turn 1. So we get alongside. So far everything's going to plan. We hit the brakes in the right spot, still going to plan. We make the turn and we hug the right side. What a shock. Everything goes to plan. That doesn't happen often for me. That felt really good. And our next bit of action is a long bit of action. My dad used to say, son, little Dale, if you caught me, you got me. And I didn't know what that old man meant until this race right here. The BMW in front of me is all over the track, which makes him slow enough for me to catch, dangerous to pass, and to top it off, he's defensive of his position. So instead of just letting me pass him, he blocked the inside every time I tried to peek it and slowed both of us down to the point of a back marker catching up to us. So as we come across the line here, this is like the third lap I've been behind this guy. I did not want to crash. I was probably being a little bit too cautious. But yeah, I was terrified of getting wrecked again for the second time in one race. So I notice now that this Ferrari's caught up to us. This guy's wild on the brakes. Now the Ferrari's directly behind us. That Ferrari is a back marker. And we're just trying to hold on to the BMW at this point. And I just want to get around him. I'm at this point getting frustrated with him because, like, right here, look, he's blocking me. Like, just let me around you. I got so much more speed than you. And now the back marker gets around me because I decide to dip out to the outside line. But then I think, hey, maybe the back marker is just gonna ruin his race. Maybe the back marker is gonna make some contact with this gentleman, and we might get a free pass on him since he's being so defensive. They make their contact there, and I think, oh man, oh, but the BMW gets right back in front of me. So now I'm very frustrated with this BMW driver. Very, very frustrated. He's been slower through almost every single turn, but he's also been a smart driver. I mean, I'm not going to say like he's a bad person or anything. He's defending his position, and ultimately I had fun. I had a lot of fun trying my hardest to get around this guy. And here's where all that frustration turns to joy. We slide through a turn, but we're still able to get the run on him, and we get side by side going into turn 13. I was really nervous he was going to bump my rear there, but he didn't. And we've completed the pass before we even get into the braking zone of, I think, what is this? 14 and 15. At some point I'll start remembering this stuff. Our next bit of action is someone not displaying the same type of etiquette that I demonstrated earlier. This is the patented pub lobby rejoin, and it's not surprising that it's another BMW. Right in the door, and he takes out the guy behind us as well. So that was really spectacular. Just all around 5 stars. I think that guy was sent by Sheila. And our next bit of action comes on lap 10, where I don't realize it right away, but my brakes begin to fail. Turn 1, no problem. Turn 2, also no problem. But once we get down, because you don't have to brake too much for turn 2, but once we get here to turn 3, it just runs a little wide. I'm like, that was a little weird. I probably screwed up. So I just continue about my business, and here we go. Let's hammer down. Let's head in. We got a big braking zone. I mean, not a big braking zone, but you got to brake, and there's just nothing. There's nothing in the pedal, and so we go off. I think about rejoining, and then I realize, ooh, I better wait for this guy to get around me. Let's at least rejoin parallel. Now again, I had not realized that my brakes were failing. I thought I was getting lazy with my brake pedal, but no. I learned a hard lesson that the 4th brake pad option does not actually last for an hour. It only lasts for 10 laps on Nurburgring before mostly giving out. For the sake of me learning this, I'm going to tell you what each brake pad is for, with CoachDaveAcademy.com being my source of information. So if I'm wrong, you blame them. Pad 1 is good for anything in the dry under 2 hours in length. Pad 2 you can use in the wet and endurance events. Pad 3 is for super wet, and Pad 4 is for idiots like me. Now it's for like pad wear simulation, brake fade simulation, or something like that. Something I don't yet understand. Basically, I need to be on Pad 1 going forward. I wonder if that'll help my lap times. But that's it for today's action. The rest of this race is just another lap or so of me running wide with no brakes before deciding to call it quits. I'm pretty sure the next video will be the first race from the Respect the Spec series hosted by Zealous Racing League. I'll have a link to that in the description below. Thanks for watching this episode of Slow to Pro. I'm Dale Robin Jr. III. You guys have the kind of day you want to have.